Hello and welcome to the NBA picks today. Prop Beaver with me. Weird week for sports. Obviously with the DeMar Hamlin stuff, it was rough. My Twitter feed during that, I lost all faith in humanity. I mean, the amount of people, that was disgusting. I'm scrolling through to find out if this poor kid is okay. And you just come across these tweets like, I just also want to thank the first responders and T. Higgins. Why are you giving a speech? Why are you running for office? Why are you talking? If you're not in the ICU, the emergency room in the ICU is one of his doctors or one of his family members, why are you talking? Whatever. Wishing him a speedy recovery. Can we talk for a second about how Beaver all of a sudden has a TCU hat after they make it to the national championship? I mean, that's pretty sad.
I think it's pretty cool.
So you decided to buy a TCU hat. Or let me guess, you've been on them all year.
Oh, totally. Been a TCU guy my entire life. Always a Texan and always a Christian. So to unite the two was really nice.
It was a match made in heaven. All right. OKC, thoughts on Prize Picks? I'm not familiar with their stuff. I see a lot of people with that in their Twitter bio, but I've never personally checked it out, so I can't comment. All right. So, first game, OKC at Orlando. And you could see in the graphic I made that graphic about an hour ago. It says OKC +2, Orlando -2. It's moved. OKC is actually laying a point now. And in fact, I saw DraftKings and FanDuel have them laying 1.5. So this line has moved, and I am on OKC. I just think the party's kind of over here for the Magic, at least for right now. That cover streak was dope. They covered 9 in a row, and we got on that streak early. We hit the last 5 or 6 of those covers. But they've not only have they lost 3 straight games, but they've lost the Magic I'm referring to. They've lost 3 straight games in ugly fashion. That was truly disgusting. And I don't know how we get behind them with the roster they're trotting out there. I mean, Franz Wagner isn't playing. Franz Wagner. He's been by far the most important piece of that roster. I know Banchero gets all the press, but Wagner's been the guy. He's not playing. And there's actually some other inactives too. Bobo's not playing. I think, and Beaver will probably comment further on this, I think Orlando only has 8 guys on their active roster tonight. So I know that a lot of people in the NBA love to just fade teams on back-to-backs, but keep in mind, because OKC just played last night, they just beat Boston. But keep in mind, one, this is a young team in OKC. This is not the type of team that has veteran guys that need load management, that need to limit their minutes. These are young guys. And number 2, SGA didn't even play. So he's going to be on fresh legs. And Orlando just 2-3 against the spread with the rest advantage on the year. So even if you want to play that card and fade OKC because they're on a back-to-back, Orlando's done well in that has not taken advantage and has not done well in that spot. So I'm on OKC here.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. Probably one of my favorite plays of the day. And the reason for that is, like you said, I think the Magic's bubble has officially bursted. They both lost and failed to cover 3 straight, and they were all blowouts. The average marginal loss was a whopping 19.3 points. And it's not like they faced juggernauts either. They played the Wizards, the Lakers, and the Pistons. Now, crazily enough, this team is yet to play in 2023, and while many see that as a huge advantage, I see it as a spot where the Magic may come out flat. Even with 2 to 3 days rest, the Magic are 1-3 against the spread this season, and their Magic are depleted. No Wagner, well, neither Wagner, no Bull, no Suggs. We just saw the Thunder straight up murk the Celtics at home without SGA. Now you get SGA back in the lineup against a Magic team that, in my mind, I love Wendell Carter, but he's not a rim protector. He's not a certified rim protector. I think SGA should do whatever he wants at the rim. And I think the Thunder cover the number. I'm really starting to like this Thunder lineup. It's really round into form. I think Jalen Williams was kind of the missing piece at the 4. And as soon as I get a legitimate 5, that's going to be a very scary starting 5. My only other play for this game that I like quite a bit is Markelle Fultz. I have him over 6.5 assists at +116. And I'm personally, usually all my props are 1 unit. I'm only putting 0.75 on this because we don't have as much of a sample size. But in his last 2 games against the Thunder with 30-plus minutes, he's walked away with 8 and 10 assists. And since 2020, with 30-plus minutes at home, he's cashed his last 4 or 5 games, averaging 7.4. Now the Thunder are starting to allow much more in terms of assists. The last 5 or 6 point guards to face them have cashed their total and are averaging 8 per game. The Thunder have allowed the 7th most assists to point guards over the last 30 days, and with the total for this game soaring, I'm going to take my chances at the plus money. I like the spot.
All right. You can see Toast. Horrible spot for the Thunder. Enjoy your L, Toast. He wants to pair... I think he's going to pair that with Padres' money line, too.
Oh, that's a lock.
Next game. This one's kind of sucks. Memphis on the road at Charlotte. I am reluctantly on Memphis, and it's so square. But I can't take the Hornets. All right, so I truly don't think there's much value on this game at all. This is a half-unit bet at most, so I won't talk about it too in depth. This Memphis Grizzlies team is 12-3, an NBA best, 12-3 in non-conference games. They've completely owned Eastern Conference teams all year. They destroy the East. And the Hornets are playing better recently. That's why I could kind of see some value on the Hornets. Like, they kind of kicked up a little bit. LaMelo Ball came back. They started to win a couple games, nothing crazy. And now they've lost 4 of their last 5, right? So a lot of the consensus is, same old Hornets team. But if you take a look at their schedule in the last 5 games, at Portland, at Golden State, home versus OKC, which they won, then Brooklyn, and then the Lakers they lost to. Out of that 1-4 stretch, really the Lakers was the only bad loss. There's a lot of teams that are going 2-3, 1-4 in that stretch. This line was at 6 last night. It's all the way up at 7.5. So like I said, we probably missed the value. But I promised myself I was going to be betting Memphis against Eastern Conference teams until further notice. So I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, also lock me into Memphis minus 7.5. I like everything that you said. They've also covered their last 7 to 8 games against the Hornets and are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 visits to Charlotte. So I really like the spot for them. They have eviscerated that Hornets team. Now, my favorite bet for this game would be Mason Plumlee under 11.5 points. And if you've seen Mason Plumlee's numbers lately, you're probably asking, what the hell? Why are you fading this man right now? Well, he's been on an insane hot streak. He's cashed his last 6 to 8 games in 3 straight. But the book said to themselves, you're averaging 18 points over your last 3 games. We're going to put your total at 11.5, much lower. And on top of that, PointsBet went the extra mile and they moved it down to 10.5, a number he's cashed his last 8 and 9 games. Unless the books became a charity overnight, it seems like they think he goes under here, and 82% of Plumlee's shots are coming at the rim. Now he has to face a Grizzlies team that is allowing opponents to convert 51% of their rim opportunities over the last 30 days. For reference, that is 10% lower than the second best rim defense. And considering that Plumlee only shoots about 8 times a game during this span, that truly only projects to about 8 points. To hit our mark, that require about 12 shots, and Plumlee has gone over 10 field goal attempts once this season. Guys like Sabonis, Jokic, and Ayton have all dramatically gone under their marks against Memphis while on hot streaks, and in Plumlee's last 3 games against Steven Adams, he has 6, 4, and 7 points, averaging 5.6 points per game. Icing on the cake, he fouled out in 2 of them. I think that Ja Morant gets him in foul trouble immediately, and we cash our under.
You love playing those unders with big dudes against Ja Morant.
Dude, I love it. I really do. He gets him in trouble. Free money.
I mean, I saw that Steven Adams, I was just doing some looking at some sortable stats, and I saw Steven Adams leads the NBA in rebounds since December 1st, so he's
had 17 plus in 3 straight games. His total tonight was 14 and a half. 14 and a half rebounds, the largest I've ever seen in my life.
That's crazy. All right. Phoenix at Cleveland. I love the Suns here. I love them. All over Phoenix. This is one of my favorite bets. Probably not my bet of the day, but one of my favorites. This is just like a perfect buy low, sell high situation. The Suns have lost 6 of their last 7 games. Everyone's just bailing on this team. The public's view of the Suns couldn't be any lower. Donovan Mitchell just scored like 150 points the other night. So it's the Cleveland's the complete opposite, right? Everyone's riding high with the Cavs. But I think what everyone's missing is that Cleveland has not been playing good basketball recently. They won 2 games in a row. Congratulations, you beat the Bulls twice in back-to-back games. And by the way, they should have lost both of them. The first game they won 103-102. DeMar DeRozan misses a 15-foot buzzer beater for the win. So they got a 1-point win over the Bulls. Then they play the Bulls again in the next game. They were down the whole game, down big. They're down 6 with 2 minutes left. DeMar DeRozan, they tied up, and DeMar DeRozan misses another buzzer beater, and the Cavs win in overtime. So it looks on paper like you got the Cavs on a 2-game winning streak, but they lost the 3 games before that. So in fact, if it wasn't for DeMar DeRozan missing those 2 shots, Cleveland would have lost 5 straight basketball games right now. Cavs are the second most public bet on the board. Line isn't moving, still at 5.5. Let me just make sure it hasn't moved since I wrote that. Yeah, still at 5.5. In fact, DraftKings dropped it down to 5. I love it. All over Phoenix here. This is a must-win game for the Suns. They lost 6-7. I mean, there's always, in the NBA, it's the regular season, so there's always this angle of, it's all right, it's just the regular season. But for the Suns, it's like, yo, are we a playoff team? Like, do we have a team this year? Now, obviously, Booker's out, but I think this is a little bit of a desperation spot for Phoenix, and I'm taking the points.
Yeah, I'm going to also take the points with you. I was on Cleveland a bit earlier, but looking at how public this is, I just can't get there. Also, I had a friend of mine text me yesterday, is Donovan Mitchell top 3? I was like, no. I was like, the public is out of control.
Yeah, just fade.
I mean, the Cavs at home, who were wagons all season, over the last 30 days, they're just 16th and 15th in both efficiencies. And then if you look at the Suns on the road over the last 30 days, they're actually better. 11th in offensive efficiency and 16th in defensive efficiency. What I think the Suns are going to do in this game is, I don't know if Shamet starts. I think they actually put Damian Lee in instead. And I think they're going to double the life out of Donovan Mitchell and make somebody else beat them in this game. Because if you look at the other offensive options for the Cavs, I don't really know who can beat them. I like Jared Allen, but he's not much of a scorer. Mobley, we don't know if he's playing. Lamar Stevens doesn't know how to shoot a basketball. And Karis LeVert is very inconsistent. So if you're going to give me 5.5 points with a team that's on the goddamn ropes right now, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think Mobley is going to play, though. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I'm betting the Suns either way. But I'm
looking at Mobley's over in points if he plays, because the Suns can't guard a power forward to save their life. And as I said, I think that they're going to give a lot of defensive attention to Mitchell.
Right. All right, let's move on to the next game. And the next game is Indiana at Philly. I love this one, too. Another one that I love. Give me Philly. I love how heavy the public is on Indiana. Everyone's loving the Pacers right now. Good. I'm going to continue to ride this trend that's been paying me for a month now. Philly is 15-5 against the spread at home. That's an NBA best. Yes, the Warriors are 14-4. So on a win percentage, they might be slightly better. But overall, wins against the spread at home, Philly's got the most. They're 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 home games. I've been saying it for a while. Just fade the Sixers on the road and bet them at home, and you will see your account growing. Public's heavy on Indiana, and I 100% completely understand why that's happening. The Pacers are really playing well. But the fact that there's 74% of the public and 94% of the money on the Indiana Pacers, and they still got Philly laying 6.5, the books are just completely comfortable playing against all that Pacer money. So I am too. I'm taking Sixers minus 6.5. Another one that I like, probably won't be bet of the day, but I like it just as much as I like the Phoenix one.
Yeah, so for this game, I'm kind of on the same side, not going to exactly pick a side, but I have a bet. It would be Miles Turner under 15.5 points, minus 118, but there's a caveat. I refuse to bet this if Embiid doesn't play. So we need to wait, see what Embiid's status is, because, I mean, if it's going to be Paul Reed at the 5, then yeah, I think Miles Turner could score some points. Now, Miles Turner has done horrendously against Embiid throughout his career. Do you want to hear how bad it's been? Well, he's missed 7 straight against Embiid, averaging 7 points per game. 7. And he's also averaging 5 fouls a game. So, if Embiid plays, I expect him to get in plenty more foul trouble here, and that is horrible news for Turner, because on the road, he may be 7-8 to the over, but limit that to 30 minutes, which he's gone under in 7 straight against Embiid, and that goes to 3-7 to the over, averaging just 11 points per game. If you look at centers to visit Philly, they are consistently being held under their points line and getting into foul trouble, and I think Turner falls in the same trap today. History always tends to repeat itself.
You remember how... It might have been the beginning of this season, but it was a large chunk of last season too. You remember how bad Philly was against centers? It was like the opposite. Mm-hmm. They were so horrible, and now all of a sudden they are defending the rim. The NBA is so weird, man. It's so hard to
Dude, it's ups and downs and ebbs and flows. It's insane.
You'll have an NBA team and you're like, yo, this team is locked down against three for 2 months. They're allowing just 32% three-point shots. And then for the following month, they will be the worst three-point defense in the NBA with the same rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Celtics overall in the season are the number 1 3-point shooting team, but they had a month where they were dead last.
Exactly. It's just, you just got to try, you can't, in the NFL, you can kind of like marry an idea. You be like, okay, this team knows how to run it and they know how to stop the pass. And you can kind of like ride that out. And if that's true in week 4, it's probably true in week 12. In the NBA, you got to stay on top of it because these teams that do something well in a month, they might not be doing it well anymore. So.
Yeah, I just want to bring up a Toast comment. He said Joel Embiid over 10.5 rebounds. He's grabbed 11 or more boards against the Pacers in his last 9 of 11 games, including a few where he grabbed 20. Now, I totally agree with Toast, and I would have played this today, but I bet it the last time this happened, and he had 5 rebounds, so I refuse to do it again. But I think it's a great play. I just got scorned by it.
I like it. I mean, Toast, we all know Toast is the real prop lord, and you're
He's way better than me.
You're like a junior propster. You're a junior propster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a sophomore. I'm trying to work my way to
a sophomore
head honcho.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Next game is Milwaukee at Toronto.
Raptor.
Yeah, I'm on Toronto. There's not many times that it's very rare where I'm going to be laying 4.5 points to the Milwaukee Bucks when Giannis is playing,
especially with the Raptors.
Right. The sharp money's all over Toronto here, as you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen, and I completely understand why the sharps are on the Raps here. Milwaukee just played last night. They had to take a late-ass international flight to Canada. They're coming in without Middleton, Holiday, and Ingles, 3 huge pieces off their perimeter. Well, Ingles really hasn't been there for most of the season. You could say the same for Middleton, but still, missing 3 huge pieces off their perimeter. Toronto needs this game way more. I actually believe the Raps are playing better, even though you can't really see it by looking at box scores. They've kind of had a rough stretch of schedule. But they need this game. They're pretty healthy. They're going to be well rested. Like I said, it sucks to lay 4.5 points to the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that you could probably make an argument is the best team in the NBA. But I think if there's a spot to do it, it would be this one. So I'm on the Raps.
Yeah, I'm on the Raptors -4.5, and I'm also on the under 225.5. First thing I wrote is I didn't even need to do research for this game, as this line is insane, and I'm gonna take the dog shit Raptors and the under. Both the Raptors and the under have sharp money on them, and I don't know if you looked at the line movement for both of those totals, but holy Christ, I think the spread moved 2-3 points maybe, while the total moved a whole 5 points down. So the sharp money is moving those lines down, and I like it. And another thing that's working for us is the Raptors just seem to have the Bucks number. They've covered 5 straight against them. The last 9 of the matchups have gone under. And also the Bucks are just 2-4 against the spread at Toronto with 4 straight unders. The Raptors are much better at home, but went through a rough patch of 5 straight losses, both straight up and against the spread. They just snapped that against Phoenix, and I think they continue that momentum here. This is more so a fate of the Bucks on the road. This team is horrible on the road. 1-6 straight up in their last 7, and 2-9-2 against the spread in their last 13. I'm smelling a bad offensive performance, a lot of defense, and a nice under and cover for the Raptors.
I like this comment here. He's taking Milwaukee team total under. Milwaukee on the road, 13-3 in their last 16 to the under in their team total.
I like that.
Yeah, it's solid. Someone wants to know if the Plumlee prop is worth a full unit to you.
I put a full unit on it, yeah, because I think it's sharp enough. I think that the numbers are working for us. Yeah.
Toast says full unit also. Beautiful. All right, let's cruise on to the next one. Spurs at Knicks. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm wearing a Knicks hat and a Knicks shirt. I actually took San Antonio here. Oh my God, it sucks. The Spurs are so bad. They are so trash. The truth is, I just won't lay a number like this with New York right now. And everything points to it. Like, I completely get it. You want to hear the Spurs' last few road games? There's a 36-point loss to Brooklyn. 36-point loss to Brooklyn, a 16-point loss in OKC, a 20-point loss in Orlando, and then a 9-point loss at New Orleans. So I get why you would make a monster line in a Spurs road game right now. I completely get it. But, like, I've watched a lot of Knicks basketball over the years, and this is the game the Knicks choke. They've won 2 in a row. They won 2 comfortably in a row. I believe the Knicks have 2 20-point wins in a row. Obi Toppin might be returning to the lineup. Derrick Rose looks like he's going to play. This is the healthiest Knicks lineup we've seen in a while. Coming off 2 straight wins. The positivity in Knicks Nation is returning. I can feel it. This is when we fuck up, man. It's like we're playing at home against a Spurs team we should destroy. And, oh, man. The Spurs did just beat us recently. So, like, I think the Spurs come into Madison Square Garden and beat the Knicks tonight? Probably not. But there's no way in hell I'm laying 9.5 points. I think the Knicks grab a really ugly win. One of those wins where it's like, okay, Knicks win 106-104, but we got a lot to talk about because there is panic here. It's not going to be a good-looking win, but I'll take the Spurs to cover.
Yeah. I'm not in love with this game. This would be a half-unit play at best, but I am going to ride with the Knicks. It stinks, but I like what I'm seeing from them lately. Those last 2 games were quite impressive. I mean, Houston at home is no joke. Their defense is very, very good, and they just completely shut that offense down, and then at home, they beat the Phoenix Suns, who are slumping, by double-digit marks. This is a Spurs team that is so much worse than both of those teams and beat the Knicks straight up last weekend without Jalen Brunson. So now with Jalen Brunson back, with potentially Obi Toppin back, and with potentially Devin Vassell out of the lineup, which I think would be a big miss, I'm going to lay the points with New York. It disgusts me, but the Spurs are 3-11 against the spread in their last 11 road games. They are horrible.
Wait, you mean 3-8? Wait, you mean 3-8?
Yeah, my bad. 3-8. I miswrote that. 3-8.
Someone said stay away from this trash game. You don't have to bet every game on the board. I have 2 stay away games here. They're actually at the end. I don't like the West Coast games tonight, and we'll get to that in a second.
Neither do I.
Yeah, the 2 last ones, right? The 2 last ones suck.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But I actually think I am going to put this on the ticket. I'm going to bet this game, but I feel you. It's towards the bottom as far as my favorite games go, that's for sure. All right. Next game, Nets at Bulls, and this one's pretty simple. Maybe you want to fade Brooklyn Nets. Maybe you want to go ahead and fade Brooklyn. I'll tell you who isn't going to do that. I am not going to do that. I mean, do I even need to look at my notes? Yeah, I wrote 2 sentences.
No.
Who's fading Brooklyn right now? They've won 12 in a row. They're 16-1 in their last 17. I'm continuing to bet the Nets blindly for this foreseeable future. I think that's been my write-up for the Nets in their last 6 or 7 games, and it's going to continue to be my write-up for them. Just bet the Nets are the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, bro, if I'm going to fade the Nets, there needs to be some ultra compelling reason, a really good squad. Then I'm like, you know what? They could do it. They could steal one from the Nets or whatever.
Or if they're resting everybody. If they're resting everybody, maybe.
The Bulls are simply not that. I don't even care that they look better as of late. I just don't have any trust in this team. I mean, the 2 stars on the team don't even like each other. It's just like, I mean, I'm being dead serious. The Bulls defense is so bad. I have no clue how they're going to stop either Kyrie or Kevin Durant. Yeah, I'm not fading the
Well,
team.
didn't you say, I think it was you that told me the other day when you were here, I think you were telling me, isn't Zach LaVine, like, pissed at the front office in Chicago?
Oh, Zach LaVine cannot stand Billy Donovan. Like, actually wants to pop him in the face.
Right. Yeah, you told me that, and I actually read something about it, like, that there's a realistic chance that he's not there after the trade deadline, which is crazy, because they just paid him. They just paid him.
I really don't understand why they paid him. I thought that was psychotic. Like, they don't want the guy. Why pay him?
Yeah, I thought he wanted to go play in San Antonio, too. But actually, he wanted to go play with DeJounte Murray, who's not even there. So maybe that's why he didn't.
Makes sense.
All right, let's move on to the next one. There's no reason to dive deep into the Nets game. Houston at New Orleans. Man, see, this is one of those where I feel like we're getting robbed. Because I'm taking the Pelicans. I'm laying the 7 points, and I think there's some value. I'm betting it. But I feel like if Zion was playing, this line could be like 9.5, and people would be drawn over to Houston, and I could steal it. And this isn't a knock at Houston. This is just New Orleans is 12-1 in their last 13 home games. They're quietly up there, right behind Golden State and Philly, as one of the best home teams in the entire NBA. No one's really talking about it. The Philly at home, Golden State at home, they're getting all the press. no one's talking about how good this New Orleans team has been at home. And like I said, the only reason I'm not all over this is Zion is sitting, and he's been such an important piece of what they've been doing recently, especially with Brandon Ingram still out. Like, look, with CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, and Valanciunas on the floor for New Orleans, I still think they should win and cover this game at home where they've played so well. But props to Houston. They definitely have turned it up a little bit. They're no longer an auto fade like they were last year. So at 7 points, I admit it's a little scary, but I'm riding the team that just continues to take care of their business at home, even without Zion.
Yeah, my favorite play for this game, the line moved, and it kind of sucks. But I do have a pivot for us. My favorite play is Trey Murphy over 14.5 points. Unfortunately, that's at 15.5 points. And 14.5 was a pretty key number. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2.5 3-pointers made at plus 120 on DraftKings. And I think that has a ton of value here because the Houston Rockets, don't know if you've heard, but they are terrible defensively on the road. 29th, and even worse, what do they really struggle at? Allowing 3-pointers. They've allowed the most 3-pointers made to shooting guards over the last 30 days. And this is what Trey Murphy does. The guy is a shooter and he's a sniper. Now, I'm trying to pull it up because I have to do this a little impromptu because I didn't realize the line was going to change. But if you take out Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, he's 3-1 to the line this season, averaging well over 3-pointers made per game. Now you get that against a horrible Houston defense on the road, and that's pretty beautiful. On top of that, in those games without Zion and Brandon Ingram, he's averaging 30 points per game. So if we take a look at what Trey Murphy's done with 30-plus minutes this season, well, he's 10-4 to the 3-pointer over, averaging 3.1 threes per game.
How many attempts? How many attempts is he averaging in those?
I could get that for you right now. So in those games, he's averaging 7.3 attempts per game, too.
And that's every game he sees 30-plus minutes?
Yes. And at home, that jumps to 5-2. I love it.
Yeah, I'm
love
definitely
Trey
telling
Murphy
you.
Tonight.
It's over 7 attempts, and we're getting plus money. That's beautiful. Hey, this guy commented right here, Tim Williams. Don't bet on Kyrie. That boy dropped 10 points his last 2 times playing the Bulls. Is that true? He's been held to 10 points? How do we miss that? You look that up real quick on StatMuse for me.
Yeah, I got it right here. Kyrie Irving. Wow. Okay, so actually his last 3 or 4 against them have been 9, 4, 13, and 22.
Damn, so the Bulls he just don't like playing the Bulls, huh?
No, I guess not. Damn.
And
the Nets still covered 3 of those 4 games.
And the Nets still won, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they covered all those.
Do I dare take a look at Kyrie's point total? I'm just going to glance at it real quick. I'm on DraftKings, so why not take a look? Player points. Kyrie's at 26.5. Oh. Yeah, I'm playing that under. I'm playing that under.
Yeah, I got to peep what the hit rate is.
Dude just called it out in the comments. That's perfect.
That was a great comment by you, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Beaver, stick to baseball, he said. You must not have been watching the baseball videos.
Yeah, I was horrendous in baseball.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Portland at Minnesota, and I know that I'm on the square side here, but I love Portland. So let me make sure this line is still at 1.5 before I start talking. Yeah, still at 1.5. And it's a little alarming that this line hasn't moved despite the public and the Sharps being heavy on the Blazers. I am just not a believer in Minnesota, and I know we just cashed. We just cashed on Minnesota +2 against Denver the other night, but the only reason we got that was because Minnesota caught Denver in a terrible spot. It was on a back-to-back where someone had played 40 minutes. Damn, all these games are blurring together. I fed exactly why it was a terrible spot for Denver, but I remember betting Minnesota +2 and being like, I can't believe I'm taking Minnesota +2 against the hot-ass Nuggets. But it won. Before that, Minnesota lost 4 games straight, and I think they get right back to work on that losing streak after catching Denver in a bad spot. Minnesota sucks. They really do suck. And Portland is kind of, my feelings on Portland are kind of the complete opposite of Minnesota, where I think they've kind of gotten their groove back. Keep in mind, if it wasn't for that miracle comeback in Golden State, that was 3 nights ago, I think, where Portland beat the Warriors in Golden State. They beat them. I had Golden State, and I was like, yeah, we lost this one. And then Jordan Poole and Clay, like, heroic shit to win that game. It was awesome, so because I won my bet. But if Portland won that game, they'd be on a 3-game winning streak right now, and this line would probably be 3.5, 4 at least. So the fact that it's 1.5 just because of that heroic shit in Golden State, that's a few points of value that I'm seeing. I'm on Portland. Fade Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. I don't exactly love it, but I'm just not seeing it here because the Blazers have failed to cover in 5 straight versus the Wolves at Minnesota and are 2-8 straight up in their last 10 games against them. The Blazers start off as an unstoppable force of nature on the road, but look at their last 6 road games, 1-5 against the spread. Meanwhile, yes, the T-Wolves look terrible right now, but they were in the midst of a long road trip, and they're still 4-2 against the spread and straight up in their last 6 at home. I watched the entire duration of that Nuggets game, and it seemed like the defensive pride finally came out to play for Minnesota. They were actually playing help defense. It was insane to watch. I was like, wow, this is like what a good basketball team looks like. And they were able to beat a very, very impressive Nuggets team. I think they focus on making anybody but Dame beat them. And in that event, I think the Timberwolves are able to pull out a sneaky win here. I can totally see why somebody would be on Portland for sure. And I don't think it's the worst bet in the world. It's just I'm riding with T-Wolves here.
I mean, we're on the other side, but it's not one of my favorite games, so I'm not going to go ahead and talk shit and say you're wrong because I can see you winning. Oh, man. You ready for the comments to get real pissed? So, before I say anything, I want everyone to know something. I have been riding this Golden State at home trend for a month and a half. Literally, every single write-up for a Golden State home game has been literally word for word, don't think, just bet the Warriors at home. So before I say what I'm about to say, I want you to know that I'm very well aware of the trend. It's not like I just missed it. I'm on the Pistons heavy tonight. I am taking Detroit plus 6.5. It's in my top bets. Let me ask you something. Who the hell is playing for the Warriors tonight? Like, who's coming off this bench? Seriously. Well, I have it. I took a screenshot of their bench because I found it hilarious. All right, so here's what's coming off the bench. Anthony Lamb, Ty Jerome, Moses Moody, Patrick Baldwin Jr., who may not play, and Ryan Rollins. That's who's coming off the bench for Golden State. The other guys on the starting lineup, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, DiVincenzo, Draymond Green. Not Looney, those 4. They all played 45-plus minutes in a double overtime game, literally the night before last. This is not the night that you want to have a thin bench. Warriors are missing hella pieces. This is a thin team that's due for a loss. And you got a Pistons team who's well-rested. It's going to be the healthiest Pistons lineup that we've seen in a while. And keep in mind, Detroit has shown us they can be very good on the road. I know that sounds crazy, but they went on a road covering streak a couple weeks back. I think Detroit's about to beat them. I swear to God. And I know that's crazy to fake Golden State at home. No, Wiggins isn't back unless he wasn't as of before.
I don't think he's back.
No, Wiggins is out. No,
okay.
JaMychal Green out, Steph Curry out, Iguodala out, Kuminga out, Wiggins out, Wiseman out.
I mean, dude, low-key, they don't have a backup center.
They don't have a backup anybody. Bro, there's a dude named Patrick Baldwin Jr. who's a game-time decision that might be coming in running minutes for the Golden State.
Honestly, I'm looking at Kevin Looney over rebounds because if there's no backup center, he's going to have to be on the floor for quite a bit, and he's hit his last 7 to 10 home games, and we're getting it at plus money. It's at plus 105. I mean, Jalen Duran, he only sticks around the rim, so while it seems like he's stealing all the rebounds away, opposing centers are getting rebounds against him.
Well, it's not just Duran, though, because Detroit runs a lot of minutes with Stewart at the 4, and Stewart's kind of a beast on the offensive glass. Like, he low-key jacks rebounds from people.
Dude, wait, look at this, though. Kevin Looney at home with 23-plus minutes, he's hit 7 straight, and he has yet to go below 11.
So am I writing it for your pick?
Yeah, write it for my pick. Give me Kevin Looney over 10.5 rebounds. I think that I like the value there. My other play for this game would be the under 232 total points. Klay Thompson's prop line not moving after his insane 51-point performance.
He was awesome.
I couldn't sleep because I didn't bet on him. He was close to being a play, and I didn't do it. I couldn't sleep. And at home, the Warriors have actually gone under their last 8 or 9 games. Their home defense is top 3 in basketball and now faces a Pistons offense that lacks any form of consistency or identity. Meanwhile, guess who's top 10 road defense over the last month? None other than the Detroit Pistons. And that helps our cause because their offense third worst in efficiency. That also helps Looney because more misses, more rebounds. Now, I'm not in love with the total moving up a bit with the sharp money on the under, but ultimately I think this is the best play because I don't want to fade the Wagons or the Warriors at home, and I don't want to be a public Pete. So I think this is the best course of action.
Yeah, and someone said it in the comments, and I'm just going to go pull it up so I can say it, but he's right. There was it is the most public play on the board, Golden State, and it was with reverse line movement because this line was 7.5. They dropped it to 6.5. Now, Golden State has been cashing bets as the public side at home for a while. So it's not like, oh my God, Golden State at home is public? Shocker. Like they always are. But they are the most public bet on the board, and they dropped the line. Normally, in previous Golden State home games, the line has been moving the other way. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at this line, 6.5, isn't part of you like, that's a little crazy, right?
I thought it was nuts when I saw it.
Like, all right, let's move to the next game. And the next game is Hawks at Kings. Now, these are the two that I think suck. But if I had to pick, this one's probably, I like it a little better. I'm on the Hawks, but this is a lead. Like, I would phrase my pick for this one, Hawks or pass. Because, to be honest, just putting my cards on the table, I can't seem to get a read on this Kings team. I've done well in the NBA the past 2 weeks. I've had a great couple weeks betting the NBA. But for whatever reason, this Kings team I can't seem to read. If I bet them, they don't show up. If I fade them, they show up. So I think the best course of action for me personally is to take a step back and watch a couple Kings games. Maybe try to get a feel for the team. The reason I would lean Atlanta, even without Clint Capella playing, is they've lost 4 straight. But keep in mind their last loss was a heartbreaker double overtime loss to Golden State, where Klay Thompson turned into the Incredible Hulk to win that game. They played great. The Hawks truly deserve to win that game. But like I said, I'm not going to bet this one, but I would just lean Hawks.
This is gross.
It's tough, right? It's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Kings. Fuck it. I mean, they're 5-1 against the spread against the Hawks all time at home. The Hawks on the road are horrendous. One of the worst teams in the league in my eyes. At least they're covering the spread. And on top of that, I think there's a really bad mismatch down low. I like Okongwu, but I don't really know if he's going to be able to guard Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis is also very good at getting guys in foul trouble, so I really don't like that matchup for him. And then when you take Nkweku out, I don't even know who the backup center is for that team. What would they put Collins at the 5? That sounds like a mess to me. De'Aaron Fox is low-key starting to heat up again too, which I love because when Fox is on a heater, that is a must-bet character. I don't know if I'm going to bet him tonight. I still want to see if that heat is there. But I think the Kings are moving in the right direction a little bit, especially after that win against the Jazz last night, and I'll lay the one with them.
All right, so we're on opposite sides there, but neither of us really give a shit about this game.
No.
Whoa. The next game I have is Vikings-Packers. So I guess I didn't make a graphic for the last one. It doesn't matter. It's literally my least favorite bet on the board. So I leaned Heat -7. But this was before. Now LeBron's been announced out. It's up to 8.5. I'm not laying 8.5 points with the Heat. I know the Heat have won, I think they've won 6 of their last 7 road games. Let me pull out my notes. I don't have the graphics for you guys, but I at least can read you my notes. So the line it's 8.5. Lakers get 8.5 at home, and this is a Lakers team that's won 3 of its last 4. So the line is a little, because it was at 7 before LeBron was even rolled out. So the line makes it pretty clear that the books like Miami here, and they're trying to get as much people in, as much Lakers dollars in as they can. Lakers returning from a 5-game road trip. Everyone knows I hate that. 5 road games in a row to come back home. Usually they come out flat. And where is it? Where's the Heat? Okay, yeah. Miami 6-1 in their last 7 road games and 8-3 straight up in their last 11. So the Heat have definitely turned things around. 8.5 on the road seems a little excessive. I guess I would lean Miami, but I won't be betting this game.
Yeah, I would lean Miami too, just because they play much better on the road. The defense actually shows up. I don't know what goes on at home. I don't know if they're hitting 11 up too much, but Jesus Christ, the defense is non-existent at home. And the offense is a bit better on the road as well. And then in terms of the Lakers, I don't like how they match up defensively against anybody, but I really don't like how they match up against the Heat, because I think Bam Adebayo can do whatever he wants. Mix that in with Jimmy Butler. I think game, but I think the Heat kind of have their way there. I think they come out in right form and do some damage, especially with no LeBron. I don't even know what the hell the Lakers are going to do in terms of scoring points.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to. The number, it's like 8.5 at home with the Lakers team that's been playing pretty well. I'll take that, but it's like there's a reason it's that 8.5. So yeah, that's it. VIPs, I'm posting up the ticket. There's 4 top bets with a possible 5th. So give me like 10 minutes. It'll be up. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and have yourselves a lovely day.
Thanks for watching.